Morning, everybody. So we're back at it again. It's a cool, crisp morning. Early this morning, about 5:30. I can't sleep much out here, so I get up real early. I can see my breath. It was so cold. Even though it gets to be close to 100 degrees in the afternoon, in the mornings. Woo, woo, woo. Oh yeah. So it's pretty cold out here. But today, it's really, really lovely. It's nice out. I mean, the squirrels are in every tree, the ducks, the magpies, a few hawks. I love nature, man. Nature's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and do Friday reading today. Today is the 6th, so June 6th, 2025. I have to keep reminding me what year it is, because you'd be surprised how often I forget. When you get this old, it's not so surprising, I guess. Anyways, so to recap some of the energy that we had throughout the week, again, the overall weekly energy was really, really good with Sowilo. And Sowilo basically, again, is about the sun, victory, the power of the sun, the brightness of the sun, all that it provides for us, gives us life in this world. So power, enlightenment, attack, honor, and it's a life force. So like I was saying, without the sun, we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? So it's a mighty, mighty rune. It's one of the most powerful in the deck. I mean, Thor says is presumably the most powerful, but they all can shift in terms of power to some degree, depending on what they're being used for and what the situation is. Perhaps someday I'll go over some of the magical incantations and things of that nature that you can also use with these runes. Okay? Because remember now, these runes represent symbols. Now, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Symbols are worth 1,000 pictures. And that's true once you understand the majesty, for example, of these runes. And they're supposed to embody the mysteries of the universe, so to speak. Now, I haven't fully grasped what that actually entails yet, but I have some insights, but until I get a better perspective on that, I just will not share it. I don't want to be really wrong, so I wait. I usually do that with most things anyways. I wait till I have a large body of evidence that's irrefutable before I bring something forward. And then when I do, at least rest assured that I spent some time looking into it first, usually. That's not to say I don't make some mistakes, especially with my delivery at times, but the knowledge is up there. It's just getting it out sometimes a pain in the ass. So anyway, welcome to Pre-Valhalla to all my Viking friends out there, or just anybody who's interested in finding out what the energy for today is by utilizing the magical runes. I have 48 runes in here. There's 24 per family. So I got 2 different sets, in other words. These runes, of course, as I've already described in past videos, are divided up into 3 ayats. An ayat, spelled A-E-T-T, is a family or a grouping. Now, each of these groups contain 8 runes. Those 8 runes are looked after or overseen by a specific god. For example, the first family, or ayat, is looked over by the Vanir goddess and wife of Odin, Freya. She is the goddess of fertility, abundance, and witchcraft. And they all have a very long resume, as I've said in previous videos. The second ayat, or family, is governed over by Heimdall. It's the warrior family. And it's basically, he is the warrior god that actually guards Asgard itself, or the gates of Asgard. So, and that's where, all the gods such as Odin and Thor, Loki, Balder and the like, that's where they're all at. Okay? The third family, or ayat, is looked after by Tyr, or Tyr. It's the god, it's the heavenly family, and Tyr is the great sky god. He's the god of justice, righteousness, and fairness, and so on, as well as war. So again, they all have very lengthy resumes. All right, so we have 24 runes in all. I have, just like most tarot readers, I've got 2 sets of runes in here, so where it's necessary, the energy can be conveyed to us very accurately. Sometimes the same rune, either shown upright twice or one in reverse, one upright, gives us some better overall and more, I guess you can say, honed in perspective of what they're trying to tell us. All right, so the overall weekly energy, as I've already stated, was Sewillow, which is a very good energy. The pre-Friday rune that I pulled last Sunday was for today. It was Ingwas. And again, Ingwas is also a very good rune, and it stands for the god Freyr. Okay, and he's the very masculine god. He's got the big ding-a-ling. Why that's always associated with masculinity, I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, I mean, some stories that I have from my days in the Marine Corps would contradict this big time. But that's another story altogether. Those are just my general observations, no other reason. But Freyr represents male masculinity, fertility, the seed, and ancestry and the like. So just think in terms of positive male masculinity, those types of attributes and characteristics and traits. That's what he represents. And that's basically what the pre-Friday or today pull was that I pulled on Sunday. Now the past energies that we have, and this was Sunday through Thursday, yesterday. For Sunday we had Othala in the reverse. Now that's the only negative one we had for Sunday. And that basically stands for recklessness, frustration, legal matters again, hassles, poverty, and homelessness. Now, the legal matters, as we talked about either yesterday or Wednesday, may be more along the lines of some type of an inheritance or winning some type of legal battle. So again, it's going to differ for the different people that are out there watching. I have upcoming legal battles as well, and I'm truly hoping that this indeed will also pertain to me. In fact, I'm claiming it as such. I feel confident. All right, so that was the energy for Sunday. For Monday, it was another great rune, the lucky rune, called Gibo. Gibo is like, again, X marks the spot on a treasure map, so to speak. It stands for gifts, gifting, equal exchanges, partners, partnership, divine union, love, those kinds of things. Very positive traits. Okay? And for Tuesday, the rune that we picked up was Isa. Now it's spelled I-S-A, but it's pronounced Isa. And it stands for ice, solidity, frigidity, frozen, stasis. But it also stands for both focus and frustration. So, and that could, be both positive or negative. I mean, frustration is never looked at as a positive attribute, of course, but sometimes that frustration can lead us to a learning experience that can help us better ourselves so we don't go through a certain situation and repeat it, or do a similar act, and repeat it. So it's not always negative. All right. So on Wednesday, we have Othala yet again, but this time it's on the upright. That means it's very positive. It means inheritance. Again, legacy, estates, family ancestry, heritage, and property. So there may be some type of a property dispute, or maybe somebody tried to steal your home. Things of that nature. So that could be what the legal battles are all about for you too. And I wish you all the luck in the world. May Odin and Thor come down there and just kick your enemies in the ass. Let them know what's up, Anyways, on Thursday or yesterday, we had Algus in the upright. Again, it's where we get the peace sign that was used so abundantly back in the 1960s. I think Winston Churchill was the actual man who made it more or less popular well before that, World War II. He was this initiated druid, so he had understandings of the Celtic philosophy, language, and things of that nature as well, I'm quite sure. I don't have any proof of that. I haven't really looked into that other than his time as a druid. Beyond that, I don't have any proof of that, but it seems pretty evident, you know, by more or less sharing that particular symbol with the rest of us, even though the rest of us had no inclination as to where that symbol came from or what it means. But what it means in the upright is protection, defense, partnership, the soul, and guardianship. So, you know, not just guarding yourself, but guarding others, or feeling a need to guard others. So now this could again be in relation to a court battle. Perhaps it has something to do with custody of children or something of that nature. Or maybe the children have been abused in some way. And if that's the case, then again, my sincerest, you know, let's just say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, if that's the case. It's impossible to say with a certainty because, again, the energy is broad. It's you know, it's big energy. So the energy is not focused on a specific one person in this case. But it looks like it's all more or less focused on positivity and, you know, clear victory in whatever court case may be coming up. And again, when that happens, you know, you want to go ahead and call upon Othala. You want to call upon Iwas. You know, those two runes in particular deal with victory, like in court battles and inheritances and things of that nature. Very powerful. All right, so with that being said, and we have an overall positive weekly energy with only a few little kinks in the armor for this week anyway, and getting more of an insight into what these legal battles we've been hearing about are starting to be about. Let's go ahead and look into what the energy for today might be. Okay, so I'm going to first one I'm going to pull, of course, is for the today, the present energy. So what is the present energy for my collective for today, Friday the 6th, please? What is the present energy for today? And thank you very much. Thank you. Present energy for today. Okay. Oh, look at that. Othala in the upright. Again, another very positive rune. And to recap, in case you've already forgotten, it means inheritance, legacy, estates, means heritage, property, ancestry. So you also use this when summoning your ancestors forward. If you ever have need, they are wanting to help you, okay? And yes, I know that this contradicts the Abrahamic belief in terms of not worshiping the dead and things of that nature. Well, in a sense, they're never dead. They're not in this reality, that is true. They are in another reality, however, and energy never dies, ever. So they want to help you. So call upon them if you ever have need of assistance, you're just lost. I mean, I've been calling upon mine like crazy lately because I need, you know, whatever guidance and so on that I can get. And it helps me to get in touch with my inner self. You know, my higher self, as they say in spirituality. You know, so that I can touch upon those things subconsciously that, you know, consciously is very difficult to tap into in a lot of ways. And that's what meditation is really all about too. I mean, it brings you peace. It helps you in a lot of ways to not only regulate your 7 major chakras, but it also gives you peace of mind, which helps your nervous system, which helps your overall health. Lots of positive attributes when it comes to meditation. Okay? It also helps you to get in touch with that subconscious that is in many ways infinitely more intelligent than your conscious memory. It's like a supercomputer, but your consciousness protects it. So you have to get beyond your consciousness to tap into your subconscious, and you can do that primarily through extensive prayer, or in this case we're talking about meditation. I do both, so I'm going to be doing a lot of that today, believe me. All right, so with that being said, and off to a very good start, let's go ahead and see what our influences for today are as well. What are the influences for the collective for today, please? And thank you. Influences for today, and thank you. Okay, what have we here? Inguas. Looks like a diamond in this case. Okay. Now, Inguas was actually the pre-Friday pull. So, we've got it on Sunday when I was pulling for Friday in advance. Now I actually pull that rune as an influence for today. You see how magical these things can be sometimes? It's just amazing. Alright, so again, to recap what Inguas stands for. Inguas is representative of the god Freyr, which is all about male masculinity. So again, fertility, seed, honor, ancestry, fertility, all those positive male attributes. So very good indeed. Alright, so far so good, guys. Looks like Friday's going to be kicking. It's going to be a good day. Alright, so let me get one more influence, please. What is another influence for the collective for today, Friday the 6th? Another influence for today, Friday the 6th, and thank you. Iwas, or Iwas. Yes, it's spelled E-I-H-W-A-Z, but it's pronounced Iwas. This is a very good rune as well. Let me write it down before I explain it. It looks almost like Sewilla, only there's a slight difference. Okay, so Iwas basically is standing for, God, it's still chilly out here. It stands for the yew tree, and you know, sometimes they would make their runes from the yew tree itself. They cut off the bark, and on the opposite end or back side of it, they would go ahead and mark, you know, with the symbols representative of the runes on them, put them in a large basket and so on, shake them up, and then either the leader of the tribe or the head of the household would do a reading, and that would dictate whether they plant their crops on this time, that time, whether they go to war or not go to war, all that kind of stuff. So they, I guess you could say they were superstitious in a sense, in the classical Western understanding of what that means. But no, they were just seeking advice from the gods, no different than anybody in Islam or Christianity or you know, as a Jew, when you were seeking advice and wisdom from, you know, your God, you know, whether it's Yahweh, Jehovah, whether it's, you know, Yeshua, another word for Christ. The Christ just means just that, you know, he's a Christ. It's a title, it's not a name. So, Yeshua. So, Jesus. And I talked to him as well. In fact, I gave my heart to him when I was very young, with no former training or understanding or anything like that. I've always been drawn to spirituality. So, if you're familiarized with spirituality, then you probably heard the term light worker and so on. And that's one of the titles that I have. So, I'm a light worker, and I'm here to help make change in this transition that's happening in this planet right now. And it's going to be happening in a very major way very, very soon. So if you are spiritual or you're seeking to become spiritual, you pick the absolute best time to do it. And there's very, very little time left in some regards, because the world as we know it is about to change in a monumental way. I had a very major dream the other day, and perhaps I'll share that with you. I've already shared it online in the other site that I have, Facebook and so on. But we're going to go ahead and, okay, I've already told you that I was. The pronunciations don't match the way it's written out sometimes, so I have to rethink sometimes. Yeah, but I was, other than the U tree, also stands for death. And again, death doesn't have to be a physical death or something, but it could mean that. It could mean that you're going to see more death than you normally would in terms of real physical, expiration. But it could also be the death of a cycle, as I've stated. And since we have so much positive energy out here, including the fact that you may be winning something very major in your life in terms of an inheritance or legal battle, that could be the start of another cycle, which means the other cycle had to first die. So everything happens in cycles for your growth. Some people never get beyond a cycle. They repeat the same cycles over and over and over and over again, maybe with different people, slightly different experiences, but they make the same mistakes over and over. That's what we're talking about as far as cycles. Everything that we're here to experience is basically for our learning, for our edification. So as we learn, we move forward, we progress into the next cycle, if you will. And that's what this could be representative of as well. Now, it also means protection, quest, strength, dependability, a person who can be depended upon, in other words, and it means rebirth. Again, with that death of a cycle, there is a rebirth, a being born again, if you will. Okay? So it's very, very good energy. So, and again, most of these runes that we pulled out here today are very powerful in terms of their magical uses as well. So it looks like Friday is going to be a very good day. But just to be sure, let's go ahead and pull our last rune. Let's see what the future is going to look like. Now keep in mind, since again, we're talking about fate, we're talking about the future, past, present, and so on. That means like a river, it flows past us and so on. So that could be 5 minutes from now, 5 hours from now. It could even be, days from now. We try to maintain that it's within this day, and more often than not, that will probably prove to be true. But there's not always a guarantee of that. Let's pull it and see where that leads us. What is the energy for our future for Friday the 6th, please? For my collective, what do they need to hear? What is the future for Friday? Thank you. All right. Fehu. Okay, that's Fehu right there. Okay. Fehu is found in the first family, or Ayat. Fehu generally means like cattle. Well, remember back in the early days, they didn't have money per se, so they would use, or they would judge a person's wealth by the amount of livestock that they possess and so on. So cattle is representative in this case as abundance, and that's another word for this. Fehu means cattle, wealth, abundance, possessions, money, and success. So we're really honing in on whatever this battle is, whatever this legality or inheritance is. It looks like it's going to be highly abundant, and you're going to be successful in it yet again. So it looks like we have a very, very good day today in terms of, possibly starting a new cycle of abundance. Yes, Lord, I am claiming this is my own. Lord knows right now I need it. So, oh man. Yeah, if the walls could talk. But anyway, guys, that's really all I have. And I don't want this to get too long because it takes so long to download these onto YouTube. And it just drains all my energy. And since I'm out here in the boonies, all I have is my car. I have to keep running back and forth to charge it up. So, I don't want to have to do that any sooner than I have to. So I wish you guys the very best of luck for today. You certainly have the energy there to support that endeavor. And if you wish, send me a text or send me a comment down below and let me know, one, that you're out there. I haven't gotten any comments yet, but I know I just started this channel, so usually you have to put at least 20 videos out there before the algorithms even kick in and let you be seen by anybody. So if you're seeing this, then rest assured it's because you were meant to see this. I'm not being put out there as of yet. So I've got very few likes. I got very few people that have viewed it that I'm aware of so far. So I'm not discouraged by that. I understand that's very normal when you're getting started off. And since this is a different type of endeavor, it's not tarot, which a lot of people are very used to these days because so many of them exist today. And I'm really thinking about incorporating both tarot and runes into this, and maybe other esoteric practices and everything else, just so you can get a glimpse into some of those practices and understand them. Unlike some of these secret societies who have become so corrupted over the centuries, they do not share their knowledge or use it for the betterment of humanity. They use it for only self-aggrandizement. So I've broken through the veneer of their illusions. I've read most of their books, in fact, more than most of them. And I'm not going to say that about all of them, of course. There's some very scholarly-like types that are involved in these secret societies. But to recap, I've read the books from Manly Palmer Hall. I own most of them. I've read Albert Pike, which was one of their most premier, perhaps even the greatest Freemason of all time. He started the Scottish Rite Freemasonry way, way back in the early 1800s, and many other things as well. He was involved in not so good things too. He was a Civil War general who was stripped of his rank because of atrocities that he had committed, but he was very brilliant all at the same time. He was a lawyer, he was a newspaper owner and editor. He was like Aleister Crowley. He may not have been a very good person, but he was brilliant, to say the least. Aleister Crowley was presumably able to play multiple games of chess blindfolded. Of course, he's written several books that most of the cultic elite today swear by and, perform his practices. But a lot of his information is ancient information. He didn't come up with it. He stole it from others. That's what he does. He's kind of like, in a sense, I'm like him in a sense that I'm always striving to find out as much information on a subject as I can. And he did that in regards to magic. Now, yes, he was referred to as the most wicked man ever, the beast. And he was wicked in many ways, don't get me wrong. But you cannot overlook his brilliance at the same time, whether it was inspired by some type of archonic or demonic entities or not is possible, certainly. They exist, whether you believe it or not. Negative energies, just like positive energies, are out there. They're good and bad deities. And we've been seeing, evidence of that from our most ancient writings in every history, from ancient Sumeria, Babylon, all the way to modern times. I mean, the Catholic priesthood still hires and trains exorcists and everything else to this day. And, on that note, the premier exorcist that they have said that there's more evil in the Vatican than there is outside of the Vatican, for what that's worth. And I'm not knocking Catholicism, but let's face it, some of the leaders, and we all know they've been implicated for some of the most heinous crimes, right? And within the Vatican itself, there are a lot of things that are going on that it can be looked at as only evil, And not to mention what they did for centuries to get that power and the knowledge and everything else throughout the world. How many people were murdered and burned at the stake and everything else as a result of that particular church. So Anyway, I'm going to end this right now. I don't want to keep babbling, which I could do all day, really. But it's right at 30 minutes. I'm going to leave it there, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Till then, you know, just stay firm and be the warriors that you are, okay? All right, take care.